this commitment and come here this weekend because there's a few things going on in LA right now
Yeah.
that require all of our newsroom. It leads across sports in all of our areas, but everything's going great. It's not on fire. I can tell you up to the minute, it's fine. It is great to see, you know, everybody engaged and involved in doing all these things. But I'm so grateful to be here and to be among friends and to hear these amazing stories I've never heard before and to celebrate the long history of the Lobo. I agree with everything that everyone's already said, but I guess I will pick out a few little moments during my time. I was there from 98 to 2002. So we had a contested presidential election. Oh, wow, that's the craziest thing ever. Then September 11th happened, and that was nuts. And then one day we were sitting in the newsroom, and a student walked in and said, I had my car, she's a black student, had a car parked in front of SAE, and she walked out, and there was a swastika duct taped to the top of the car. So there was that. There were lots of other things. So we had lots of moments. There are always seemingly flashpoints on this campus and around the world that continuously happen and mobilize and teach us so much when we're there. And that was the case for me. I was another Hank Truitt beneficiary as our writing coach at that time. He transitioned away, and Jim, we're forever grateful to you for making the brilliant decision to establish the writing coach in the first place and make Hank the first one, because there was less focus on journalism as a trade at that point with the university, and us learning by failing, learning by doing all these different things. So I was really appreciative of that. We joked about jobs I had. I tried to do everything. I came to the Lobo like very unsure. I was from El Paso, Texas. I got to work in a great high school journalism program, and my family on my mom's side in Mexico owned a newspaper at one point. So my parents loved to read. I was very curious, much to the annoyance of my entire family. I would not stop asking questions. So all the ingredients are here. But I did run into some obstacles in high school and some other things, and I was like, wow, I don't know if I can do this. Will they actually pay me? Can I work in this? So I had universities to choose from. I was really fortunate in that way, but I'd heard so much from others who had gone to my school that like, oh, you don't actually get to work until a couple of years in. I was like, I don't have that much time. I need to know what I'm studying, because if I don't do this, I have to go to law school. I'm not sure I want to do that, but it's probably the best next thing. So UNM just continued to emerge, and so I was like, okay, I will do that one. Much to my father's dismay, UTEP Lobos could not believe how this cycle had turned around on him, the betrayal to become a Lobo. How did this happen? I was like, we all hate Aggies, it's not a big deal. We still, you know, on the fence about it, but still, utterly supportive family. So came first day, very nervously, day before the first day. I did go to school with Chris Spada, who's the photo editor at the time, and he said, hey, we got your application from that orientation thing you did. Do you want to come over? I was like, oh my God, yes. I was planning to go tomorrow, but it's the day before the first day of school. Sure, I moved into the dorms. So I headed over, very nervous, with this portfolio of everything I'd ever written, and presented it to Kate Nash. She was the news editor, and she laughed and said, yeah, you're hired. You can do this part of the story tomorrow. Oh, it's a story, they're due by then. And I was like, and then I found out I got paid. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So I came in nervous about that, and so I think trying to do all these different jobs was about trying to cement that, like, yes, I can do this. And this was a place to let me. That let me do all those things. And it was a place to be around people, some of them in this room, who we had just ridiculous ambitions and tried weird things, and they worked. And that was such a great lesson. Now, there were a lot of shenanigans, and, you know, all the misbehavior described and then some. So by the time I was done, it was a solid 4 years, and then the 1 year as editor, and there were campus protests, and there were other things, and it was stressful. The journalism department just didn't have as much support. What was once known as the 375 program, giving you beat reporters who work on a bunch of stuff, that kind of dissipated. They didn't like getting heavier editing from the Lobo than we got from school, and so we were thinner and thinner, it was harder and harder. And after surviving the end of my tenure, I was like, you know, I'm never going into management. I will never edit anyone. This was great, but like, no. I'm just gonna focus on me. I will never do this, ever. No way. I stayed in touch with Jim, and he's like, yeah, when's that happening? No, it's not. It's just not. It's just not. And I had great experiences as a reporter. I started off in news. I worked at the Albuquerque Tribune and covered crime and public safety. I did a project on meth labs in the Northeast Heights moving in before Breaking Bad. Had so many different opportunities, learned from incredible people. And then a football, basketball beat reporting job opened up at the paper when the beat reporter quit 2 weeks before the season started. So I asked some friends. There were very few women in sports at that time in that particular sector. There'd been some in Albuquerque, but I was about to step into a position where I was accustomed to being one of the few as Mexican-American kid coming through, but now I was definitely going to be the only one. I would be the only woman on the beat at every city, everywhere I went. There might be a communications staff member who's a woman, but most likely not. And this is what I was going to sign up for, and I was like, yeah, sure, how bad can it be? I just did Netflix, it's fine. So, it was a lot, and the news elements followed. I mean, there was, during my time, a local recruit. They take them on official visits when they want to recruit them and tell them, please commit, please sign here. This is back before it looks like it does now. And the football players had the bright idea of taking him to a strip club, which normally would fly under the radar, except there was a shooting in the strip club and the recruit got shot in the leg. So, these stories, still continue to interact. There's a lot within the sports department that continuously, all those new skills became very important. The Tribune very sadly got put up for sale and closed. So I moved to the Orlando Sentinel, was fortunate to get a job there, and before long ended up covering a team that was sued for wrongful death after a player died. It just follows you wherever you go. And I said, still very much focused on writing, contributing, reporting, doing. It was very energizing, but at a certain point, it started to creep in that I felt like it could be done better. I had a succession of 3 editors who were awful, and I just decided to storm the castle without any of the traditional training. And I tried to I was like, I know this isn't a convincing argument, but I worked at the local. I know what I'm doing. They don't know that, but seriously, I'm so well prepared, you don't understand. But I couldn't bring that argument, but I knew it, and I had the confidence for that I could do that. And yeah, what Leslie said, letting your people do what they do, not being the one with the ball in your hands anymore, not being the one who leads, not being the one who writes it or shoots it or does everything all the time is a challenge. It's different, but it is a teaching role, it is a leadership role, and sometimes, yes, you do get your hands dirty. Still, in my job, I'm fortunate. That part keeps me sane. I still do have a hand in the daily journalism. I have not ascended high enough into the corporate structure that it doesn't resemble that. I'm really grateful for that. I can still occasionally have a byline, and that is meaningful to me because of my background and because of my roots. But really, the confidence to push through, and the reason that I'm at the Los Angeles Times now, and the reason that I can tell Jim, yes, I'm the sports editor, which is a big deal. I'm the first woman to be a sports editor at the LA Times. I'm the only Latino sports editor in the United States. Those things matter, but it also matters that we're making big decisions about our newsroom, about our news coverage, as we're directing how we handle ICE raids and other things, that I have a voice in the room. And that happens because I was very confident to say, I can do this better because I did it at the local. So, thank you to Jim and to Davin for always being there when we did all kinds of crazy things to take care of us. And part of the time, I think Leslie was on the pub board and also helped keep us out of trouble. We're still here.